Greed. It's a word that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, like finding out your expensive organic kale was grown next to a tire fire. It's the insatiable hunger for more, a bottomless pit of desire. Until you're knee-deep in questionable life choices, when has just one more ever truly been enough? One more slice of pizza? Sure. One more dollar, one more car, one more yacht? That's when things get messy. Greed isn't just about material possessions, it's about power, status, and the need to feel superior. It's the driving force behind some of history's most infamous figures. And the reason your neighbor still hasn't returned your weed whacker. This insatiable hunger can lead down a dangerous path. It warps our sense of right and wrong. The only game greed plays is one we all ultimately lose. Remember that time you lost your favorite pen, the one with the comfortable grip and the surprisingly smooth ink flow? Remember the sting of injustice? The suspicion that washed over you as you eyed your co-workers? Now imagine that feeling magnified 1,000-fold. That's the impact of theft, a direct consequence of unchecked greed. Theft isn't just about petty office supplies, it's about snatching opportunities, resources, and even basic necessities from others because someone else decided they deserved it more. It's the story of exploited workers, rigged systems, and stolen elections, all orchestrated to feed the insatiable hunger of a select few. This insatiable desire for more, regardless of the cost to others, is the driving force behind theft. It's the voice whispering, "Take it, it's yours," even when it clearly belongs to someone else. And the worst part? It often works. Greed thrives in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable and justifying its actions with a twisted sense of entitlement. Corporations. Those bastions of innovation and progress, where the bottom line is king and human decency, is often left out of the annual report. This is where greed puts on a suit, hires a team of lawyers, and sets up shop under the guise of maximizing shareholder value. Corporate greed isn't just about cutting corners or squeezing an extra penny out of every product. It's about prioritizing profit over people, exploiting workers, and sacrificing long-term sustainability for short-term gains. It's about polluting rivers, dodging taxes, and lobbying for regulations that benefit the few at the expense of the many. This toxic mentality trickles down from the top, poisoning the well of ethical behavior. It creates a culture where whistleblowers are silenced, dissent is stifled, and the pursuit of profit justifies almost any means necessary. And you know what they say about bad apples? They tend to spoil the whole bunch. Section 4. Laundering greed, hiding the dirty truth. Ever tried washing a ketchup stain out of a white shirt? It's messy, and no matter how much you scrub, a faint pink tinge always seems to linger. That's money laundering, except instead of ketchup, it's the blood, sweat, and tears of exploitation. Greed's attempt to sanitize its dirty laundry, transforming ill-gotten gains into a facade. An intricate web of shell corporations and offshore accounts obscures the origins of wealth. It's why luxury real estate and high-end art auctions are favored for cleaning dirty money. Section 5. The endless pursuit, power corrupts. Power. It's a seductive mistress, whispering promises of influence, control, and the ability to bend the world to your will. But like a bad relationship, the pursuit of power driven by greed often ends in heartbreak, betrayal, and a trail of shattered dreams. Greed fuels the endless pursuit of power, creating a vicious cycle where the more one acquires, the more they crave. It's a hunger that can never be satisfied, a thirst that can never be quenched. And as the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This insatiable desire for power manifests in various ways, from corrupt politicians rigging elections to corporate CEOs exploiting workers to line their own pockets. It's the driving force behind dictators clinging to power, monarchs suppressing dissent, and anyone who believes they are above the law. Section 6. Counteracting greed, a collective effort. So how do we combat this insidious force, this insatiable hunger that threatens to consume us all? It starts with recognizing greed for what it is, a destructive force that undermines our collective well-being. It requires a conscious effort to challenge the status quo, to question the motives behind those who prioritize profit over people, and to hold those in power accountable for their actions. We need to foster a culture of empathy and compassion, one that values fairness, justice, and the well-being of all, not just the privileged few. This means supporting policies that promote economic equality, holding corporations accountable for their social and environmental impact, and rejecting the notion that greed is just good business. It's about remembering that we are not just consumers or cogs in a machine, but human beings with intrinsic value and a shared responsibility to create a more just and equitable society.